today, because last week in the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, he came in late in the game. He played against a prevent defense, made a remarkable comeback. But tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to attack early. They're going to attack often. And so we're going to find out exactly what Derek Anderson has in store for the Steelers tonight.
And by the way, we should note the number of empty. By the way, this game is being broadcast in high-definition television, of course, on NFL Network. We note the number of empty seats. This is going to be a late arriving crowd. That is in part due to the fact nobody wants to sit here in the cold before the game, but also the weather conditions, the icy roads. It's going to cause a lot of people to be delayed getting here.
We were a little late getting here. I understand even the referees were a little late getting here tonight.
They were indeed. As you can see, the Steelers have won the toss, and so Phil Dawson will be kicking away. The hardy folks here in Pittsburgh, this is definitely Steeler weather. How many times did we hear that in the lobby?
Oh, boy, they love their Steelers around here.
Sean Moreeeee is deep, takes it inside his own 10. Moreeeee to the outside, pushed out close to the 35-yard line by Joshua Cribbs. Let's set the Steelers' offense. Ben Roethlisberger's had a difficult season, as Chris noted. Motorcycle accident, appendectomy, a concussion. He's also thrown 20 interceptions, most in the league this year. Running back Willie Parker is on pace for another 1,000-yard season. He's got 12 touchdowns. Injuries have the Steelers going with 2 reserve wideouts in Santonio Holmes and Nate Washington. The Steelers' offensive line is solid, boasts a lot of experience. Left guard Alan Faneca is the standout of a stellar group. Been to 5 straight Pro Bowls and started in the last 4. Steelers will start from their 35.
We're done. Nice job, man.
This is Parker with a gain of 2. Let's set the Browns' defense. It features Mount Washington in the middle. Ted is listed at 6'5", 365, probably bigger than that. The linebackers, DeQuell Jackson and Cambry Wembley, were Cleveland's top 2 draft picks this year. Both are worth watching. Andre Davis is the club's leading tackler. The Browns' secondary, somewhat suspect. Lee Bodden's the best of the corners. At safety, Sean Jones has big play potential, and Rodney Poole gets a rare start. This is Parker with his 2nd carry of the night. Will leave the Steelers with about a 3rd and 3.
And I thought those 2 runs by Willie Parker kind of indicative of the way that this guy runs. They talk about him, you know, he's had a great year. He's about to go over 1,000 yards and taking over. No Jerome Bettis this year. Really his first chance to be the full-time starting running back. And yet there are occasions when he sees a hole, he'll explode through it. But when there's not one, he tends to, you know, tippy-toe a little bit. Not like a Jerome Bettis who would explode in there and get 3-4 yards.
The Steelers go 4 wide. Walter Young and Sean Moreeeee in for the first time tonight. Roethlisberger completing this one to the rookie Holmes into Cleveland territory to the 42-yard line before Sean Jones drags him down.
A couple of weeks ago, we saw the Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens, and they had all kinds of protection problems. Now Najee Davenport, number 44, comes in the game. They've tightened up the formations a little bit, and when you give Ben Roethlisberger a chance to set his feet and get comfortable, he can still throw the football with anybody out here, and it's just a confidence. He's taken so many blows this year, most of them off the field, but many of them on the field as well.
The Steelers go to a double tight end set as Jeremy Tooman checks in, and Roethlisberger throws on 1st down. In and out of the hands of Miller.
You know, Ben Roethlisberger, we've talked about him so much this season and all the things that he's been through, and I just don't, I can't imagine that he's not looking forward to the offseason. You know, you come out and had the motorcycle accident and busted up his face and his jaw so he couldn't eat, and he lost some strength, and he finally comes back and he has the appendectomy, and now he's losing some more strength, and he finally comes back and started playing well, and then against Atlanta had the concussion, and it just seems like 1 step forward and 2 steps back for the entire year.
He's a guy who actually had a fairy tale 2 years. He made it look terribly easy. This year has been a dose of reality. He throws over the middle short of the 1st down, struggling to get it as Sean Moreeeee looks like he has it inside the 30.
And Moreeeee may get called for a push-off on that one. He was working against Ralph Brown, and you just don't know.
Offense, number 81.
Indeed, you got it.
Penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
This field is so crummy out here They've been playing high school championships, and it's just worn out, and it's tough to tell whether Brown slipped and fell on his own or was truly pushed by Moreeeee.
This field is in bad shape. It's not just the high schools, but the University of Pittsburgh played here too. And this field is beat up. Well, and there's not a lot of grass there in the middle.
Yeah, and in days gone by with Jerome Bettis, you say, well, okay, it plays to their favor because they're playing straight ahead. But now when you have Willie Parker and there's your back, he's a little bit more of a move guy.
Davenport is in for blocking purposes on a throwing down for Roethlisberger. Overthrowing Sean Moreeeee on the sideline. Here's a look at exactly what you were talking about, Chris. You know, this is Roethlisberger. I mean, he was living a storied existence for some time, but look at the attempts per game this year versus the prior 2 years.
Yeah, and I think that's really been the key. This has been a running football organization, not just a team. I mean, that's been the very basis of this organization. Great defense and a running game. And this year, with the running game being up and down, it's put a lot more pressure on Roethlisberger to have to carry the load.
Ben looking long for Nate Washington. Batting down was Lee Bodden defending on the play. We'll get our first point of the night.
One of the key matchups in this game is going to be Cameron Wembley, the outstanding rookie working on the outside against Marvell Smith. In the last game, Wembley really had a tremendous impact on the game. And yet in this one, with this kind of a field, I'm not sure that his speed's not going to be neutralized a little bit. It has been thus far watching him.
Chris Gardocki will punt it away, and Dennis Northcott, long one of the best punt return men in the league, will field this one at about his 20, juggles it a bit. He takes a lick. Mike Logan on the hit.
Whoa.
On a cold night, that'll wake you up.
Somebody forgot to tell Mike Logan this game didn't mean anything. And the Pittsburgh Steelers fan just saw the replay, and they got a little jacked up over it.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 87. 10-yard penalty. Cleveland keeps the ball. First down.
And so Cleveland will have the ball for the first time tonight. When we come back, we'll see first-time starter Derek Anderson under center. We're scoreless in Pittsburgh.
Live Monday Night Football continues on NASN with an exclusive NFC collision. The Bears head to Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, where the Charging Rams will try to butt the Bears straight back to Chicago. Live NFL, Chicago versus St. Louis, Monday late night at 2:30, only on NASN.
There was a moment there where I thought, that was a pretty doggone good throw. I can probably play.
My sophomore year against Thomasville, I only got 3 balls. And those 3 went for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. I knew right then that I was on my way.
And the stadium was rocking. It was packed. Got a total of 400-some yards. That's when I knew.
When people stopped calling me Archie's boy, started calling me Peyton, that was a big moment for me.
.9 Steve Smith has emerged as the NFL's premier scoring threat. Don't believe me? He'll tell you.
If you say this ugly face, that means I scored.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know what to tell you about Steve Smith.
Steve Smith touchdown.
Taking candy from a baby. I know somebody better pour water on that man.
Talk about a game-changing player.
You see me again.
Back on a cold night in Pittsburgh, where a block in the back Darnell Dinkins has pushed the Browns back to their 11-yard line, where Derek Anderson brings them out. Anderson throwing over the middle to about the 27-yard line. Gives us a chance to set the starting offense for the Browns. Derek Anderson, 6'6", making his first NFL start. He's in his second year. He had never thrown a pass in the NFL until last week. 7-year veteran Reuben Drones is the workhorse of the running game. The receiving core, headlined by wideout Braylon Edwards and tight end Kellen Winslow Jr. The 5 Browns up front are huge, but they're not very mobile. Fraley, Andruzzi, and Coleman in the middle have the most experience in the group. The give here to the up back, that's Lawrence Vickers, fighting his way back just past the line of scrimmage. Gives us a chance to set Pittsburgh's base defense, which is a 3-4. It's anchored in the middle by nose guard Casey Hampton, twice a Pro Bowler. The 4 linebackers are the keys here. Porter and Hagens are the speed guys outside. Inside, Farrier and Foote are 1-2 in tackles. Behind them tonight, a group in flux. 3 reserves starting. Brian McFadden gets a start at corner. At safety, Tyrone Carter is in, as is the rookie Anthony Smith. Jason Wright now in the backfield behind Anderson. Braylon Edwards not getting much with his first catch of the night. He's a guy who enjoyed a big game just 3 weeks ago against the Steelers with 137 yards.
Well, he really had to back it up a little bit. He popped off a little bit before the game happened. But Braylon Edwards, when you watch this kid on tape, he plays hard. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he is a big body that catches the ball over the middle. He's not afraid, and he wants to go challenge the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Does he give you enough for a third pick in an overall draft, which he was?
You know, I'd like to have a little more speed if I'm going to spend that high a pick, but he's a good player.
First time for Anderson in what is decidedly a throwing down. He's looking at 3rd and 5. Completes it this side. Joe Jaravicius working his way close to midfield, just in the Steeler territory.
How about Derek Anderson so far? You know, Joe Jaravicius, who just caught that pass last week when Anderson came in the huddle for the first time, he said, "You're playing? Oh my gosh, game's over. I'm going home." The whole huddle broke up, and it seemed to just relax Anderson, but I'm not sure he needs to have a whole lot of help. He's been sharp coming off his own goal line here tonight.
He's a kid who came in last week to the Kansas City game, had never thrown a pass in the NFL. He engineered 2 touchdowns. He won the game in overtime, 12 for 21. Played well. He completes this one on first down. Kellen Winslow Jr. with his first catch of the night. Larry Foote blanketing him.
You know, and let's face it, for Romeo Crennel, he doesn't know who his quarterback's going to be. Charlie Fry's a young kid that's come in. He's had his moments. He had some good, some bad. But Romeo's fishing out there. He's going to take whoever he can get. And Derek Anderson's a big guy. I mean, he's 6'6", and when you play in Cleveland, you need big hands that can handle the ball in this kind of weather. And so far, he's shown that he can do it.
4 of 4 so far for 40 yards. Reuben Drones with his first carry of the night, struggling to try to get to the 40-yard line.
It's a nice-looking cutback that time by Reuben Drones. Casey Hampton right over the center, got some good penetration. And Drones just cut back to the left in behind that wall of blockers for a good pickup on second down to bring up a 3rd short.
Anderson, the pride of Scappoose, Oregon. Population 5,000. Drones and Terrell Smith in the backfield. Smith is the up back. Gives to the up back. Smith not going to get the first, as he is pushed back.
You know, I have a lot of respect for the Cleveland Browns guys up front, but you're not going to just take them and blow them off the ball. I mean, that was just sort of straight ahead, no fair dodging. We're not tricking anybody, pounded up in their football. And I say good luck against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I played against these guys a lot, and that one's not going to work too often for 2 yards.
Was that a I've got a green quarterback call?
The way he's been playing so far, I wouldn't have been afraid to let him drop back and throw it.
Zastadil will punt it away. And the rookie out of Ohio State, Santonio Holmes, is back at his own 10-yard line. This one will come to rest inside the 5 down to about the 3-yard line. Ben Roethlisberger coming back on the field for the second series. His Steelers backed up on their own goal line.
This Saturday, we've got another Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader on NASN. First up, the Leafs scatter on the roads of the Motor City to make it slippy for the Red Wings. Then it's a Western Conference rivalry as the Canucks try to extinguish the Flames in Calgary. A live and exclusive Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader this Saturday late night at 1, only on NASN.
The Arctic ice is shrinking at a record pace. Electricity used by lighting is one of the biggest sources of CO2 emissions. New Philips energy-efficient lighting now uses less electricity than ever before, helping reduce CO2 emissions. Simplicity is a light bulb that can help change the world.
Coming, stands in, he airs it out, he's got it, touchdown! Peyton stands in, he throws it deep to Reggie Wayne, touchdown! Looks, throws back to the end zone, touchdown! Sets, rolls to the right, he airs one out, intended for Marvin Harrison, touchdown, Marvin! Peyton, he throws to Stokely, touchdown! That's the record breaker! His 49th touchdown pass.
We're halfway through the opening period here in Pittsburgh, where this crowd is still late arriving. It's something you rarely see at Heinz Field. Awful lot of empty seats here as you glance around.
Yeah. You know, for the Cleveland Browns, that last drive was really impressive. They didn't get points, but Derek Anderson took them from their 10-yard line and left it on the 3-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is exactly what you're hoping to do if you're not getting a touchdown.
Steelers with double tight end. Parker will rush it inside. Remember, you can catch all the highlights every Sunday. Steve Mariucci and Deion Sanders join host Rich Eisen for highlights and analysis of every game on NFL Game Day. That's Sunday nights immediately following the NBC game.
Those guys are curled up in front of a heater down in the locker room after 3 hours.
You want to tell us about their location?
Oh, right off the river. That wind was blowing in. Those are tough guys down there.
Deion was appreciating it, wasn't he?
Yep.
Roethlisberger throwing from his own end zone. Swings it out to Dan Kreider. Close to the marker, but a tad short. Will leave the Steelers with a 3rd and short.
Yeah, it's been since 1997 that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had a drive 95 yards or more. I mean, this is a grinded-out football team. You know, Bill Cowher and the bus and all the things that they've done. And yet this year, that sort of power football really hasn't been there. It's been more of the passing game with Ben Roethlisberger. And I think next year the Steelers got to look for a guy that can help them get back to that power football.
And what was 3rd and 1 is going to be 3rd and... Well, we've got a timeout. Steelers get their first timeout. We have 6:13 left in the first of a scoreless game.
This Sunday on NASN, we've got a live and exclusive NFL tripleheader. First up, the AFC North leaders, Baltimore, head to Kansas to take on the Chiefs. Next, charged up San Diego take on their AFC North rivals, Denver. And finally, the Saints go marching to Texas Stadium to challenge the Cowboys. A live NFL tripleheader this Sunday only on NASN.
You pick the phone, you fix the monthly bill, so you always know what's coming. You fix from T-Mobile.
Here at Heinz Field, fans still piling in after being delayed on roads that became a bit treacherous this afternoon.
Yeah, there's Willie Parker. This season, we have not seen the Steelers run the ball very much in these types of situations, less than 50% of the time, as opposed to years past.
He's got his first down this time as he breaks it across the 15, following the block of Heath Miller.
That time the Steelers got a nice push off on the left side. Dan Kreider working along with Marvell Smith. Also going to have Heath Miller coming in from the tight end position, throwing a block. But it's really remarkable when you looked at that stat to think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and obviously without Jerome Bettis and all those other things, but less than 50% of the time they're running the football on 3rd and short.
This is Parker finding some room on the outside. Looks like he's got another Steeler first down.
Yeah, and that's really the best of Willie Parker right there. When he gets a chance to take it and bounce outside and use his speed, then you get the full package from Willie Parker. He's a home run hitter. You know, he's a guy that can take it the entire distance, as we saw in the Super Bowl last year.
Isn't that part of his problem, though, Chris? He's always looking to hit the home run?
Well, you know, it is. And you talk to the coaches and some of the players around here, is that, you know, occasionally they want him to just slam it up there and be happy with a 3-yard run or a 4-yard run to set up those 2nd and 6s, which keeps you on schedule.
Parker 5 carries for 26 yards, and that last one took him over the 1,000-yard mark for the season.
Parker is the ball carrier.
And if you remember back to the Super Bowl, the play you just saw was the one that Willie Parker broke for the 75-yarder. The one with Alan Faneca pulling around. It has been the basic staple of this offense. You talked to Jerome Bettis, and he said, you know, which one's your favorite play when you were playing? He said that was it. But that was also the play that he fumbled on against Indianapolis that almost left his career a little scarred.
You saw Willie's numbers there, as we noted, gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the 2nd straight year.
Willie Parker in the ball carrier.
He's got it again. That was Cameron Wembley. Wembley, their #1 draft pick out of Florida State. And as you noted, they really like this kid a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player. There's no question about it. A better pass rusher than he is a run player at this point in his career. But for the Cleveland Browns, he's just so essential because they really don't have other pass rushers on this team, at least to his caliber. Willie McGinnis certainly in his career has been that type of guy. Really not anymore Ted Washington the same way, Alvin McKinley. So if they're looking to get a pass rush, it's really coming from Cameron Wembley out there on the outside. And if you say, what do the Browns need in the draft? They need a pass rusher and they need some corners.
Roethlisberger on 3rd down, finding Santonio Holmes. Once again crossing into Browns territory.
And Santonio Holmes, of course, their #1 pick out of Ohio State. Ben Roethlisberger hanging in there nicely on that throw. And they know Santonio Holmes is going to be their guy. He's still learning. He is trained as the X receiver this year behind Cedric Wilson. But when they get in those 4 wide receiver packages, he's the Z receiver. So every once he's been on brain overload a few times this year as he's tried to learn the whole package of the Steelers offense.
Give Holmes 16 on that gain. 1st and 10 for Roethlisberger. He'll throw long. Looking and finding Nate Washington. Touchdown Steelers. Washington beat Lee Bodden on a 49-yard hookup.
I feel like it's a little deja vu seeing the double move out of Nate Washington in that corner of the end zone. I was here on opening day against the Dolphins in the same exact move. Washington goes out, Bodden bites on it, and the ball is really underthrown a tad, but Washington was so wide open, it was an easy touchdown.
I'm sorry, and what did you say the Steelers hadn't done since 97, 95 plus? They just went 97 yards.
How about that?
Jeff Reed in for the extra point. With 3:18 to go in the first period, and the Steelers have struck on a bomb to Washington. They're out in front 7-0.
Play football. Larry Johnson only started 9 games in 2005, but still rumbled for 1,750 yards and 20 touchdowns. Now the full-time starter in Kansas City, Johnson will not only battle for tough yards, but is one of the league's most feared big play threats. Running with a rare blend of grit and grace, Johnson is poised for an MVP season.
You can't wrap them up against allergies, but you can treat almost every allergic reaction with Piriton. Piriton, for the family's allergies.
Hi, I'm Mark Messier with an update on the Cold FX NHL All-Star Fan Balloting presented by 2K Sports. Now you can help choose this year's NHL All-Star Game participants. Just click to vote for your favorite players. Visit NHL.com to vote. Vote often.
Now you're seeing the All-Star stuff.
Click to vote, then watch the NHL All-Star Game January 24th on NASN.
Back at Heinz Field, along with Chris Collinsworth, I'm Bryant Gumbel. There's the two getting a start tonight, Santonio Holmes and Nate Washington.
Yeah, getting a chance because Heinz Ward is out, and he should be back, I think, next week after the knee surgery. Cedric Wilson's out, and you lose games like you do this year, there's going to be some transition, so guys vying for positions for next year.
This is Joshua Krebs, who had a 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in their first meeting, but he'll be dragged down inside the 25. When we come back, Derek Anderson gets his second series under center. He's trailing 7-0.
So you all right, Jake?
Well, don't you think Mum's been acting a bit weird?
I wouldn't worry about it, son.
Only Actimel contains the good bacteria LC Immunitas. Try it and see if you feel the difference.
We're playing San Diego. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. And puked in between. And that's when I knew it.
I felt like I was playing with little kids and I was a grown man, like Superman.
I ran the fastest 40 at the camp, and I was still 15 years old. So that's when I knew I was going to be pretty good. Oh, yeah.
Hi there, folks. I'm Tim McCarver, thanking you for watching my show exclusively here on NASN, Europe's leading channel for North American sports. Join me each week as I conduct in-depth interviews with the biggest stars from the world of sports. Whether you enjoy football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Check out NASN.com for the latest schedules and guest lists, and we'll see you right here on Chevrolet's Tim McCarver Show on NASN.
On Sundays, don't miss any NFL action. Log on to NFL.com and subscribe to Field Pass. You'll be able to listen to the live local radio broadcasts of all the games. Log on to NFL.com and you can hear all the action.
I think those guys were within 4 feet. It's cold enough. You're going to creep down there, be a little less than 4 feet.
Second drive of the night for Derek Anderson, the Browns. Ball completed to Braylon Edwards, but popped loose. They're going to rule this one incomplete. Anthony Smith on the hit.
Oh, and they're jawing with Braylon Edwards over there right now. Larry Foote, probably the biggest trash talker, right in his ear. It's a good throw. Edwards coming in across the middle, and it's a good catch, but he just took a shot. Let's see exactly who that was. I think it was Anthony Smith who came up with the hit on that one. And remember, we have 2 new safeties in the game, Ryan Clark and Troy Polamalu. not playing in this one, so a couple of guys getting an opportunity to get safety and taking advantage so far.
First incompletion of the night for Anderson. He'll come back to Edwards. And he's brought down by Deshae Townsend. Anderson with a nice start to his evening, completing his first 4 for 40 yards and didn't seem terribly flustered.
No, and he seems like he's under control. And one of the big things that's happened thus far is the Steelers have tried to blitz 2 or 3 times, and the Browns have picked it up beautifully. And so when you have a young quarterback, the number one thing you want to do is put him in a position where he feels comfortable. And right now, Anderson's feeling comfortable out there.
He's looking at 3rd and 4 from about his own 30. Swings it out, not getting any help from Dennis Northcutt.
Boy, and that's a killer right there, because Anderson made a great read on that one. They brought the blitz to that side. They had the perfect play called. Northcutt's coming around. They've got a wide receiver in that position and just drops it. There was a lot of open space out there. When teams blitz you, you have to make them pay for it. And when your quarterback makes the right read, the receiver has to make an easy catch there.
Zastudil with his 2nd punt of the night. We've got a flag back by Zastudil. This is Holmes. Up the near sideline, fighting the sideline. They called him out of bounds.
And Brian, I think we're going to get a running into the kicker, and it's going to be very close for the first down.
They had it listed at 3rd and 4.
Well, it would be a first down.
Running into the kicker. Defense number 92. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
James Harrison, the guilty party.
Just caught him on the foot, and the running into the kicker is when you hit the kicking leg. The roughing the kicker is when you catch the other leg, and there's just no question about it. Good call by the official, and a big break for the Cleveland Browns after they faltered on that last drive.
Anderson had a cute story. That's Zastudil being checked out on the sideline. Anderson had a cute story. He said, I asked him how he fared in last week's game. He said, actually, my wife was more beat up than I was, because she was sitting in the wives section. And every time he'd make a good play, they'd all pound her on the back and say, he's doing great. He said she was sore. He wasn't.
Yeah, because he didn't get hit that much in the game.
Screen pass. This is Reuben Drones. Crossing midfield before he's dumped by Anthony Smith.
Boy, they are calling some tremendous plays over on the Cleveland Browns sideline. You're going to get a double blitz coming in from these 2 inside linebackers. And of course, the screen pass, the absolutely perfect call. Let them all go, dump it off to Reuben Drones, come up with a big play.
Drones is out. Jason Wright is checked in as the lone back behind Anderson.